Unlock your potential with a comprehensive suite of investing tools and expert education with GammaEdge. Start your free 14-day trial today.
Asking if you can use like the VIX chart and or kind of apply the same methodology to VIX and like if that's going to impact stuff. Me personally, I don't. I mean, VIX is kind of just a math equation. That's the way I've always thought about it, at least. So I just focus on SPX, SPY, those type of things. But I honestly don't think I've ever typed VIX into the web app or the Discord bots. But for anyone else that can educate me on why that's correct or why we should focus on VIX, please fire away.
Even though it is a calculation, I do think that there are links between VIX contracts, VIX futures, and just the overall vols of the S&P structure. I'm personally trying to work on a study to learn more about this exact thing. But it is interesting to look at things like the zeros on the VIX. I think a few weeks ago when we were sitting around 20 on the VIX, I was looking at the TDZs and the TGZs, and I think they were still sitting somewhere around 15. And then, we had that really big vol move. So like I said, I'm just looking into it because I've got the same kinds of questions, but so far I am seeing some sort of usefulness, but that's very, very premature. But that's where I'm at on it. But yeah, I do look at the VIX stuff on either the Discord bots or in the web app tool just to keep track of what are people thinking about volatility. What are people willing to bet money, hard, cold, stinking money on volatility bets. I just feel like there's some sort of link there. Like, I understand how theoretically there shouldn't be, but I just feel like there's got to be some sort of link there, some modal, dance with the rest of the market there, but we'll see, or I'll see.
So let me offer my 2 cents. On the screen, I've got probably the most important chart that I consider. It's really the only one that I watch with respect to the VIX, and it's the GEX ratio. And it's because I can look at that number, and if it's above 1, I know I have more calls in the structure. And if it's below 1, I know I have more puts in the structure. Short dated. This is not a PCR ratio. This is a GEX. This is run automatically down in the VIX channel every day. You can go back, do all sorts of things with it. I want to be very clear. There are probably a few instruments that do not align in our world order at GammaEdge. That this then leads to this. VIX probably falls in that category, and I concur with Taylor. You can probably do just fine looking at other instruments. VIX is good as what's called an orthogonal investment. That means it goes up. If you're long the VIX, when stocks are going down, you can get some of that vol expansion, and that's always a good thing. And then you can see that when you get above 2 and stuff, when you have a lot of calls in the VIX structure, if you give yourself enough time, and that's always a big if, you can usually participate in a vol collapse. And there are numbers of structures where you can participate in that. But you can do all of this in the SPX and using SPX option. If you're short on a vol contraction, you'll participate in the downside, and things will work out in your behalf. Stepping back up to the 50,000 foot view, though, I want to caution folks who run in the Discord or in the web app stocks that have thin OI, and when I say thin, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 contract open interest. And I also want to caution running against the VIX and applying our tools to the VIX. It's not been proven or disproven in the context of our tools of how they apply to the VIX. But the 50,000 foot view takeaway is this. We are presuming a liquid market, which the VIX is. VIX options are. VIX futures are somewhat. But, and this is a big but, you have to be in a mode where if I do something in the options market, there is a dealer response on the other side. And the parallel to this is in the SPX. If I buy a call and it's long, the reflexive response is that the dealer is going to be short a call. The dealer is the other counterparty to my transaction, always for option. You're not selling it to your friend Joe directly. The dealer may turn around and transact with Joe, but you don't. VIX is kind of the same way, and so the mechanics are going to be the same. And so as long as the mechanics of you opening or closing a VIX contract, option contract, not a futures contract, an option contract, you are causing whoever the market maker in that option market, in the VIX option market, you are causing that reflexivity that we talk about, which is perfect. That's exactly how the game works here. What is not proven, and I want to caution everybody, and this is where crowdsourcing is going to come in at its best. The VIX is pinned to some calculations, the math that Panther and Taylor were just talking about. And that math makes it a little less dynamic or more dynamic. I mean, the volatility of, VolaVix, VVIX is definitely something that you can watch. There are no options or anything on that. It's an index. But how to play on that? Vol can continue to collapse, but you may see VIX actually go up, and you've heard fixed strike vol, you've heard a number of things. So it's not like the SPX in how it behaves, or the SPY or the Qs or these other liquid instruments. So the question is specifically about using the tools to look at the VIX and use the VIX. You can certainly do it, which is why we include it as a symbol for you to play with. We have not proven the ability to make any money with the VIX tools in terms of gamma. Certainly you can look at delta exposure like what I've got up on the screen. You can see where the transitions are, just like I have on the screen. You can also see there's a coincidence COI and POI at the 17 strike right now in the next expiry, which is next week. You can also see, all the things we normally talk about. Does it mean that the dealer has to respond accordingly, or that the gamma is disproportionate? Sure, absolutely. That probably leads to the vol. Does it mean, though, that we know what's going to happen? So we can read the SPX or the SPY or the Q structure, and we know where the ranges are. These are tied to the demand of the 23 to 37 day SPX forward-looking contracts. And so now all of a sudden we're pinning the behavior of the VIX and then its interpretation through the gamma tools in a different way. I would just caution, and if it makes your head explode like it does mine, I don't play it. I used to play the VIX all the time. I don't play it at all now. I don't need to. So personally, I'm with Taylor on this one. It's an interesting thing to watch. I don't know how we tease money out of it consistently with an edge. And so I would be, I'm soliciting for all of you as a crowdsource community. If you can find a way to play this repeatedly, we can probably test it, and we can probably see is there a pony there. But I struggle with all of the dependencies on the calculation of the VIX and the term structure, and how we roll down very, very significantly between cash VIX and what the term structure is. So that VRP is pretty significant and it's constantly changing. I don't know how we consistently will make money with it compared to the SPY, the Qs, the IWM, the other stuff that is quote unquote easier to read. So I'll leave it at that. And I do like the GEX ratio. I think that's useful.